Hello crafty friends, welcome to another day of Die Cut December. Before we create today's card, I wanted to show you a change that I made to yesterday's card. I felt when I finished it that I'd put far too many gold dots on it. It lost all its definition, I think. So I took the panel and the dragonflies off the card, which had gold dots all the way around the outside, and I just mounted it on another card blank, and I'm much happier with that. I think it looks better with the gold restrained to this area. So unfortunately, the first time I recorded today's video, it recorded really blurry. I don't know what I did, but it wasn't good enough to share. So I recorded it again. The random number generator did pick number 23, and that corresponded to cog dies. Right, I've got all my cog dies here, all sorts of sizes and designs, and they're on my electronic die cutting machine sandwich at the moment. So I've got my clear cutting plate, a plastic shim, a magnetic shim, then the dies facing up, and then I've got a bit of a cereal box because it's thicker than regular cardstock. And now I'll add my metal shim and my self-healing cutting mat. I think they've almost cut through. I'm going to add a shim. Got a couple of pieces of packaging here. I'll pop that under the plastic shim. Right, that's cut through, I think. I've actually cut out 2 of each die because I want to glue them together to make extra thick cogs. So I'm just putting some high-tack white glue on the back of one of the cogs and then sticking it to its partner. You could die cut with double-sided adhesive on the back of one of your cogs, but I think wet glue just gives you that bit of extra flexibility. You can wiggle things into place with wet glue. I do need to poke out all the little bits. So to do that, I sort of give them a flick with my tweezers like that. And then any that don't come out, I just poke. So with this one, because it's quite intricate, instead of trying to put glue on the back straight from the bottle, I'll just dip it into some glue on my silicone coaster. And that way I should get enough glue on the back. I'm not particularly bothered about... Hang on, put that the wrong way up. That's why it doesn't match. I'm not worried about getting glue on the front because I'm actually going to gesso these in a minute. I'm going to cover them in probably black gesso, I think. Right, I've got a card blank here and some low tack tape. And I just want to cut a bit of this tape that's roughly the same size as a card blank. And that's going to give me something to build my display of cogs on, and it will hold them still. So I want my big cogs on the bottom, and I cut it the size of the card blank so that I could envisage what it would look like on a final card. I can always make my card bigger if I want to, but these are going to be the base cogs, I think. And I'm going to put them sort of close together. And then I'm going to put glue on the next layer of cogs and stick them on top of my base cogs. I'm basically building up a pile of cogs. They're not interlocking, they're not part of a machine, they're just a pile of cogs really, I suppose. So this is black gesso. It's like white gesso, just black. And gesso is a primer. You use it as your first coat on things that won't take paints kind of straight out of the tube, or when you want to kind of unify things. So I'm just brushing a thin layer of gesso over everything, just to prime it, getting in all the teeth of the cogs. You could gesso each cog before you make your pile of cogs if you were going to do something like this, but I find that quite fiddly. This is a fine way of doing it instead, I think. I think I've got into all the nooks and crannies. Before we move on, I'm going to give it a really good dry with my hairdryer. So now I've got a nice dark base, I'm going to spray this with some Copper Blaze shimmer spray. This isn't the original bottle it came in. I managed to break that, so I put the surviving spray into this little mister. So just give it a nice dousing, and the black gesso will really make the colour and mica shine. So let's dry that now. I've dried that. I am going to take this off because I want to be able to see what I'm looking at. So I'm going to put this on a fresh piece of masking tape. Now what I want to do is go in with some gilding wax, and I'm going to make my own using this gilding gum from Indigo Blue. These pots are just little sort of travel pots that I got from Amazon, I think. And then I'm going to use this, what's it called? Penny Dreadful. So it's a sort of copper, and add a fairly large chunk to that and carefully mix it in. I think you're supposed to use sort of a 1-to-1 ratio of gilding gum and luscious powder. Obviously you can make your own waxes with whatever pigment powder and wax you've got. I've used this in the past. It's just beeswax and olive oil, I think, furniture polish. I'm going to pick up this here. Don't want to waste all my precious Penny Dreadful. Just stir it until it's mixed in properly. And you can put the lid on these and they should stay good for a long time. And then this is Peacock. So now I'm going to take a brush. You can use a makeup applicator. I've just got some powder on there, ignore that. So you can use a makeup applicator, you can use your finger. And I'm just going to brush some of this gilding gum on top of my Copper Blaze. I'm just trying to create something that looks kind of metallic, kind of aged. Cover up the black really, but again the black makes the colour in the gilding gum really pop and stand out. I'm not really sure what metal I'm trying to make. Just an impression of metallic cogs. So I've washed my brush out and I'm just going to rub it on this to make sure I've got no more Penny Dreadful gum. And now I'll add some of the Peacock gum. So this kind of verdigris look. You could use a green, but I've gone for a tealy bluey green, or a greeny blue more like. I think some of the gesso in the holes of this cog wasn't quite dry, so some of the black has spread, but that's okay. You can always spritz on some more spray, or I'm going to put some on my mat, pick it up with my brush and just add it in places that I think it might need a bit of that. Can spatter it on. I can put the lids on those and they can go in my gilding wax gilding gum stash. Now I'm just thinking of getting some of this Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed proof white ink, just the tiniest little bit on my brush. Maybe, I don't know, just bringing in something a little bit different, not quite highlights, just a little bit of something not shiny, just to sort of catch the edge of some of the cogs so they don't all look like a mishmash of indistinguishableness. Kind of highlighting the edge a little bit. I'm not sure how well that will show up on camera, but it just helps each cog stand off the one it's on. Just a little bit. You could do the same with some black gesso. Just get a tiny little bit on a brush and add it here and there where you feel you need a bit of definition. And they're meant to look grungy and old and what have you. And if you want to make it feel like there's a bit more shadow, just add it where you feel it works. If you put it on the wrong place, the place you feel, oh, I wish I hadn't put it there, just be quick, you'll be able to wipe it off. You can always cover it up with a bit more gilding gum or a bit more spray. I'm just using a small flat brush because it's convenient for this particular thing, but you can use whatever brush you want. I'm going to put a tiny bit more of the blue, I think, on there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that works. So I want to put this on a white card blank, but before I do that, I'm going to use my dies to emboss a panel of card. I run that through my cuttle bug in my embossing sandwich, and I'll hold those in place with some tape. So before I cut this down, I'm going to cover it in embossing ink. And this hopefully will just kind of catch the raised areas, or it'll give it a bit of a grungy look when I sprinkle on some luscious powder. We'll start with a bit of copper penny and tap that on. Not copper penny, penny dreadful. And just let that sort of move around, stick on. There we go. So I'm going to give this a spritz with water, just a few squirts, and that will activate the binder in the pigment powders and help them to stick to the card and not brush off. And now we'll dry that and cut that down so it fits nicely on my card. I'm going to run around the edge with my edge beveling tool, and that will just curve that edge over. I'll pop tape runner on the back of this, and then we'll mount this on some black card to give it a nice defined edge, which will tone well with the black gesso that kind of peeks through all that shimmer and shine. Right, it's ready for its embellishment now. So I'm just going to put glue on the bottom ones, that first layer, and then place that on there. So I'm thinking thank you card. I've got these that I pre-stamped, and then I'll cut one out and see what it looks like. So that could go on there like that, stands out quite well. You just go in the middle. Or we've got this thank you, which is printed and hand cut out. Also got this with gratitude that I did for a previous project. It's too dark. I think it definitely needs something lighter. So I'll put some glue on the back of this one. I'll have to do some scaffolding. Put some bits of cardboard underneath here, or a couple of layers of foam tape probably will be best or easiest. And now for some finishing touches, I'm going to add some copper penny Nouveau drops in amongst my cogs and around, just for something extra really. And there you have it, one card made with cog dies. I hope you liked the card. I hope you found the video helpful, and I hope that you'll join me again tomorrow for another day of Die Cut December 2025. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.